A long time ago, in the northern part of the United States, somewhere in the upper regions of Michigan, somewhere in the Upper Peninsula, there was a railway that has become known as non-existent. This railway was not too big, but not too small either. It had a couple of small branch lines for more freight and cargo. But one day, the controller of this railway decided that it would be a good idea, in order to save money, to get rid of all the regular steam engines and turn them into something else. Or get something else. These new engines were either black, dark green, or sometimes, in very rare cases, red, but not that many of them. These trains looked like bullets, and they only had one spot on them to put in fuel, one small place for a hose. These engines would just sail around the yards, making no sound at all. They would just kinda click clack, click clack along the rails. These engines frightened the workers of this railway so much that they begged the controller to bring back the old steam engines, with which he refused. These engines were later found out to be something else. They were not of normal origins. They were very different indeed. The railway was shortly then after closed down, the engines hidden away in a shed, as they were deemed unable to be taken apart, as they were somewhat alive, and technically had a mind of their own. These engines had no funnel, no firebox, no pistons, although they were and are considered steam locomotives. These trains will forever live on in their hiding spot in a shed somewhere in the upper parts of Michigan, waiting to be found. This area has very much overgrown, and there's only two original engines left over from this railway, left at a mine in the Upper Peninsula, with a small cog railway leading down to the mine, and two of the original steam engines sitting out back, rusting away. One of these engines I have done a video about. The video where I said this is the real Moonlight Express. That is one of them. But the engines in this story are still waiting to be found, and are very much still alive. So watch out for this Halloween. If you hear the shrill whistle of a steam engine and the click-clack without any notion of pistons or the chuffing sound of a normal steam engine, be wary, as these engines are very sneaky, and they can show up anywhere. The only sign of these engines coming is a whistle in the distant click-clack of its own wheels, and possibly whatever cars it was carrying before it was stowed away in its shed, and figured out how to manifest itself as a spirit only on Halloween. These engines are very much waiting to be found, put back into service, as they know nothing else. So this Halloween, be careful around the train tracks. And if you see a train from the 1940s with observation cars and passenger cars that look very much like they did from that era, and it's a steam engine, please, if it's standard gauge or not, stay away. Unless you absolutely know that this train is on the schedule, please stay away. As basically no railway runs steam engines late at night, or basically at all, except for very specific examples. So please, this Halloween, be careful, because these engines, these ghost trains, / real living engines, are out there, and they are out for revenge. And just by you listening to this story, you have become susceptible to these engines. Yes. I hope you've enjoyed this story. Happy Halloween. Thank you very much for listening.